Well, I think we can all agree that mothers teach us things. So here's a few things my mother taught me. My mother taught me religion. You'd better pray that will come out of the carpet. My mother taught me foresight. Make sure you wear clean underwear in case you're in an accident. My mother taught me about contortionism. Will you look at that dirt on the back of your neck? My mother taught me about weather. This room of yours looks as if a tornado came through it. My mother taught me about envy. There are millions of less fortunate children in this world who don't have a wonderful mother like you do. My mother taught me about anticipation. Just wait until I get home. My mother taught me wisdom. When you get to be my age, you'll understand. And finally, my mother taught me about justice. One day you'll have kids, and I hope they turn out to be just like you. Mother's Day humor. That clean underwear thing. What is that? Okay, anyway. All right, so happy Mother's Day. And before we get started, I would like before you stand, anyone that's a biological mom, anyone that's adoptive mom, anyone that is a male that has stepped into the mom role, and anyone who's a kitty mama or a doggy mama. Okay, stand, please. Let's give these beautiful souls love. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the love that you are. I know, so, those of us that have been kitty mamas, that's okay. All right. So today I wanted to talk about motherly love and what that is. And I was really exploring a Bible story that I wanted to share with you and what it really meant to me. And I'll have to tell you, one of the ahas that I had in writing this talk today, and this might seem like a no-brainer to you, but I just really got it for me and my being, about what unconditional love really is. Because, I think we attribute moms with love. That loving, that nurturing. And I know that there are those of you in this audience that might not have had that experience with your maybe biological mom or adoptive mom, but hopefully all of you in the audience have had someone that has unconditionally loved you. And I know that I have, and it wasn't honestly necessarily my biological mom, but it was my spiritual mom. And I thought, what is unconditional love? And what came to me as a result of my own experience and as a result of this Bible story is, it is love without attachment. And a hush came over the room. Because what I've realized is that sometimes, when we love, and we love so intently, and I know, just based on people that I know that are mamas, because I do not have biological children, that when you love something with every fiber of your being, that one of the more difficult aspects of that is to let go of your attachment. Yeah, I see moms going, oh yeah. And so there's a story about a woman in the Hebrew Bible that modeled unconditional love without attachment. And she grounded that unconditional love in great wisdom and strength and faith. And so I want to share the story of Jochebed, Moses' mom, found in Exodus 1 and 2. So here's the story. So a new king arose over Egypt who said to his people, "Look, The Israelite people are more numerous and more powerful than we are. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, or they will increase, and in the event of war, join our enemies and fight against us and escape from the land. And they set taskmasters over them to oppress them with forced labor. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and spread, and the Egyptians came to dread them. So the Pharaoh issued an edict against them, saying, "Every boy that is born to the Hebrews you shall throw in the Nile, but you shall let every girl live." And a man from the house of Levi went and married a Levite woman. She had a son and hid him for 3 months. When she could no longer hide him, she got a papyrus basket for him, sealed it, and placed it among the reeds on the bank of the river. His sister Miriam stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. The Pharaoh's daughter came down to bathe at the river, while her attendants walked alongside. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her maid to bring it. When she opened it, she saw the child. He was crying, and she took pity on him. "This must be one of the Hebrews' children," she said. Then Miriam said to the Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and get a nurse from the Hebrew women to nurse this child for you?" She replied, "Yes." And Miriam went and got his mother, Jochebed. Pharaoh's daughter said, "Take this child and nurse it for me, and I will give you your wages." So Jochebed took the child and nursed it. And when the child weaned from his mother, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and she took him as her son. She named him Moses, because she said, "I drew him out of the water." So, I think you know the story of what Moses, ended up doing. He was raised in the Egyptian culture, but also was the man that led, according to the story, over 600,000 Israelites out of slavery into the promised land. He didn't make it to the promised land, but he led them on that journey to the promised land. But so in the context of the mom's perspective here, can you imagine how difficult it would have been to release your son in that way? And I was very touched by this. I mean, I've heard this story, ever since I was a little girl. But I was looking at this story through the lens of a mom, and how deep her unconditional love must have been for her to let go of her attachment to raising her son and birthing a new possibility, a new vision for his life out of necessity, which took from her such great faith, such great knowing that this was hers to do. She grounded that faith in strength. And so it brought to mind to me, the mother energy is a birthing energy. When my friend Amy was giving birth to my goddaughter, I was in the birthing room. Oh my goodness. And the one thing that I saw that experience called forth is a letting go. She had carried that precious being in her belly for 9 months, and it was time to let go and to let the birth process happen. And so I'm just going to metaphysically kind of take us into a deeper understanding of this story, because really, we are all moms in a way, because moms give birth. And if you think about it, we all have the capability to give birth to something. And so my question for you this morning is, on this Mom's Day, what's calling you to give birth? What's a new possibility? What's a greater vision for your life? A divine idea that's pulling at your heart that wants to give birth? that will call you into letting go of your attachment and to using your power of discernment, your wisdom, your faith that's calling you to be strong. Because the thing is, when life calls us to birth something, it can sometimes bring up our fear, can it? Because one thing that we know, and one thing every mom in this room will say, that once you gave birth to that child, your whole world turned upside down. Everything changed for you from that moment forth. And so it's the same thing when we birth a new idea. It's going to call us into being what we've never been before and to do what we've never done before. It will sometimes turn our world upside down. And so what I think it calls from us, like Jochebed modeled for us, is out of great love and trust and knowing, we let go of our attachment of how. And we simply say yes to what is ours to do. But in this story, metaphysically, the Egyptians represent our sense consciousness. How we can get caught in our senses and how we can get stuck and, no, it has to look this way. No, I want to do it this way. And so the opportunity that we have is to confront our fears as we birth a new possibility. And to be honest and to ground again that divine idea that is pulling you forth. That is your wisdom. And to trust and move forward with that in great strength and in great knowing. Just like Jochebed modeled for us. Because the beautiful thing is, she gave space to Moses. She gave Moses a possibility for a new life. Because of her willingness to let go, Moses stepped into a new life and was able to fully express all that he was in his life. Yes, Moses metaphysically means drawn out of the water. And water is a cleansing agent. It is also an element of possibility. Yeah. So on this Mother's Day, I just invite us to allow Jochebed from the Hebrew Bible, her model of modeling so beautifully unconditional love, letting go of her attachment and standing in her knowing with great strength and wisdom. Because I believe that's what we are called to do as we birth new possibilities in our life. So this week, I just invite you to just take a pause, to reflect for yourself what's tapping on the door of your heart to be birthed. That's going to call you into letting go of your attachment, to really trusting your wisdom and moving forward with great strength. Because there's always going to be some, maybe, probably shouldn't affirm that, but often on our journey, there's little bumps. There's appearances that say, no, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe that's too much. Maybe it's our own inner voice that stops us. What is yours to do? What is calling you to birth a new possibility on this Mother's Day? I invite you this week to be in discernment and to allow yourself to confront your fears and say yes. And allow people in your life that love you to support you. So let's affirm the truth together. I release and let go of my fears and choose to birth my inner calling from the strength, faith, and love I am. And so it is.